Epic Gaming Night is sponsored by Tasty Minstrel Games. Make sure to check out the Tasty Minstrel podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. This podcast is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Thanks for your support.
Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Roy Candy, and with me, as always, is Rob.
Hello, hello, hello.
How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How are you doing? Pretty awesome, pretty great. Sweet.
Hype, hype. Yeah, so today our topic is about gaming with strangers. We just got back from Recon and got to play games with all sorts of amazing new people. Just want to be able to talk about lots of different...
You're not allowed to talk to strangers.
Oh yeah, I'm not allowed to talk to strangers. But you are allowed to game with strangers. They have candy.
Yes, that's what I'm going to tell my daughters. Oh, that's okay. They have candy.
They're playing Candy Crush or Candy Land. I can play that.
Yeah. Oh, baby, yeah, it's okay. Go play with them.
Yes.
Probably not.
I ended up making the title a little bit spooky with the whole strangers thing. I also, for our live stream people, I have Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, Undercover Allies behind me with this guy. He's not a stranger. He's Rob's friend, right, Rob?
Oh, love him. We go way back. In fact, I was wondering where he's at. I was like, hey, man, I haven't seen you in a minute. Where you been?
Hype.
Yeah.
But I guess
So
before
he's
that, we
doing
can talk a little bit about news. One cool thing that I want to talk about on news is me and Rob got a chance to help with the Squirrely Awards for the Rolling Dice and Taking Name podcast. I think that just went up like something. I don't know if you got a chance to get it yet.
I have not. Have
It's
you?
pretty cool. I listened to it just to make sure to see what they said about us, or if they said anything great. It wasn't too much. Marty was just saying, "Oh, we'll have to play Lisboa." It was pretty cool. But they had tons of awesome...
went all out.
Yeah, they had tons of awesome contributors on there. I'm glad we weren't the only ones like ragging them pretty hard.
Good.
But yeah.
Is that Jeremy Ross from... Sorry, hold on. I'll type this in chat. You keep going. I apologize. We met some strangers over the weekend, and making sure this is not that guy.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, he was totally like, hey, make sure Rob doesn't say anything too bad about me on the podcast. Make sure I'm gonna be listening in my truck. If Rob says anything too bad about me, I'll hear it.
Well, I guess they'll hear it.
Nice. Well, the next thing on the news, I think you probably know more about this than me, Rob. There was the Harry Potter's miniatures game that got announced from Night Model. Looked at this.
So all I have seen is the video, right?
Okay.
I saw the video of them doing the Harry Potter miniatures game, and it immediately made me upset. Because it's like I don't need this, but I do, but I don't. Yeah, immediately made me upset. So what they're doing is they're coming out with a Harry Potter style. It looks like it can be a campaign / skirmish type of a set, and it comes with different stories, scenarios from the game. Like there's the battle that happens at Hogwarts, and then there's some quick scenarios that they showed of them in the forest. I think it's the Forbidden Forest, or I can't remember what it's called. The forest outside of Hogwarts, where they fight the big spiders and other stuff like that. But I love the IP. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Well, I take that back. I think I'm a big fan. I've only read the last book, and that's because I wasn't patient and I didn't want to wait on the movies because they were filming the 2 movies back to back. It was going to be like 2.5 years, so I went and got the last book. And so anyway, I still love the IP. I'm really excited. This is one of those games that is almost an instant buy for me. Like if I'll watch the Kickstarter for about a week, and I just want to see a couple stretch goals, what they're planning on doing, but I'm probably gonna have to give them my money. I love the idea of like an amplified Wiz War in a way, um, because Wiz War's got the magic and all that kind of stuff, but anyway, the IP and everything like that, it's just so good. It's so good. And He Who Shall Not Be Named, continuing from last week, he was the one that told me about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, and so I had to go check it out. And yeah, it looks gorgeous. It's coming out, I believe, March 11th, either March 11th or March 12th. But so
I'll make sure talking to the microphone better.
yeah. So anyway, I'm excited for that. I really don't know much other than I've seen the 3-minute Kickstarter promo video of what they've got coming out. That's it. Have you seen the video?
I didn't watch the video. I just saw like a picture of it and that it's in a tin and such. But other than that, that's pretty much all I've seen so far. Confession time. I haven't seen the Harry Potter movies.
I will back out of the podcast right now.
So, weird thing, growing up in a super conservative household, my parents were like not down with the Harry Potter stuff. So I never watched it as a kid. Now. And as an adult, I think I watched like the beginning of the first one and was just like, but I never watched like any of the movies all the way through.
Okay, skip the first one. I mean, the first one's cute. The first and the second one are cute. Pretty much first one, Harry finds out that he's a wizard, and gotcha. Cool stuff is happening, and he meets Hermione and he meets Ron. Okay. And then they go on an adventure, and he finds out that his parents were wizards.
Yeah.
The third one, I believe so the first one is a Chamber Secrets, and then I believe the second one is a Sorcerer's Stone. The third one, I believe, is where it starts to get crazy. And that's the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah,
that's where I would tell you to start watching. Like
gotcha.
The first two just kind of set up that. It seems like a thing that
I would love because I love fantasy type stuff and monsters and creatures and things like that. But I just never have gotten into it. So I mean, I know who the characters are. I mean, they're pretty big in pop culture, and I know different things about the storyline just because it's hard for it not to get spoiled and different things like that. But I've literally just never gone through the whole Harry Potter thing.
Well, let me correct myself. His father was a wizard, because if you're a male in that world, your father's a wizard, and his mother was a witch. And I think his mother was Muggle blood. No, she wasn't a Muggle. She was like half. She was like half. Like one of her parents had wizarding. Some people in chat right now are like his parents. Like they're trying to correct me on some stuff.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, it's a lot of fun. And to me, it's like it's an underdog story.
I definitely grew up on Chronicles of Narnia. So
yeah.
So I watched all the BBC movies like a million times as a kid, and I read those books and things like that. And of course, I was like obsessed with Lord of the Rings, so I was like super huge into that. But for some reason, like my wife likes Harry Potter and stuff. But she watched all that stuff before we started dating. So.
It's just I love the story. I love the IP. I mean, at the end of the day, he's gonna win. He's the chosen one, right? But I love the fact that they use like. Well, stuff happens. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't want to spoil it for you.
It's already been spoiled. It's fine.
But it's so good. In fact, sometimes my wife and I we go on like these little tangents, and we switch off now between the Hunger Games and Harry Potter. Both start with H. And we'll watch like the last 2 or 3 movies of the Hunger Games, and the same thing with Harry Potter.
I'm always worried to take your advice on specific kids movies just because your love for Twilight. I know we haven't brought up on the podcast in a long time.
Here's the thing. I will say this about Twilight. Like last year, or maybe even 2016, I watched it. It was like a rainy, mucky day, and it was the Twilight girl inside of me came out and was like, "This would be a beautiful day to watch Twilight, right?" And I just all of a sudden it started to get to me like, okay, there's so much better movies out there than these. it's just I don't know. Like I still like Twilight. I like that part of my life. I thought it was fun, just like being a grown man obsessed with a teenage thing. Like it was a fun part of my life, but I'm okay. Like I'm more into the Hunger Games, rewatching Hunger Games because again, I'm a big fan of the underdog story. Twilight, they're not really underdogs
I've
to me.
also never seen any of the Hunger Games.
Bro, the books, I read the books before I saw the movies, and then I read the books again. They're fun, they're simple, it's an easy read, it's not hard at all. Um, but it's I thought they did a good job with the movies. I know a lot of people complained with the third movie, but I kind of get why they did that. And the fourth movie was great. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yep.
But I'm really disappointed in you, Roy. So you
I
haven't
just
seen
don't
Harry
watch.
Potter movies.
I don't watch teenage girl movies. I'm sorry.
Harry Potter's not teenage girl.
Okay, like when I was that age, for some reason
I still watch
my
it
parents were like,
actively now.
"That's the devil." So I don't know.
Okay, and I grew up in that era too, and I even went to a private school and stuff like that. But I'm a man now. I can
You
I
can have a
watch,
little bit of the devil in your life. Okay, I see how it is, Ron.
right. Maze Runner, they are fun, but Jeremy, you're not allowed to talk this show. Reckoners, I do want
Oh,
to
I
check out
watched-
Reckoners.
I watched Maze Runner.
Oh, good.
Nice.
It's a top 3 Marvel for me. I don't know.
I still haven't seen Thor.
Okay, Thor Ragnarok is still my number 1, just because
it just came out on digital, Rob. Let's turn this
I know,
off and just go watch it.
I actually already watched it earlier today.
Oh man. Nice. I need to watch
Well,
it. So
Thor
bad.
Ragnarok is like so funny. Like it's got its deep. Well, it's not really deep. It's comic book stuff, but
Uh-huh.
it's got its moments. But this one is just it's more funny. And I love the humor. Like they're not taking themselves too seriously, but they are dealing with some serious stuff. But I really like the message in Black Panther. I really really enjoyed Black Panther a lot. My only issue that I have with Black Panther, and it's not even an issue. I think the message is fantastic in Black Panther. I love the movie. I thought all of the actors, I thought the cast, everybody did a great job. My only issue with Black Panther is to me it seemed like a little too much CGI.
Oh.
And here's why. Like, on the commercial,
But there's tons of
where-
CGI in all of those movies. Did the CGI just not look good enough?
well, okay, for example, like when he's fighting, right? It's like a human fighting Hulk, right? Because in Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah, but the
spoiler
Hulk
alert-
is CGI.
Yeah, I understand that, but it
And Iron
this
Man's
one-
all CGI.
here's my issue. In Black Panther, in the preview how it shows him backflipping off of that car after it's like blowing up or whatever, and he backflips off of that car and lands onto another car. To me, it's almost too glossy, right? And so it's like, okay, like it looks fake.
So your problem is not too much CGI, really. It's that the CGI wasn't done perfectly.
It was almost like
It
the
wasn't done
CGI
good
was too bright.
Gotcha. So
If
the
that
CGI
makes
just could have
sense.
been better. Because, I mean, Spider-Man completely CGI. Like, all these movies are completely CGI.
Yeah, but they weren't
So-
so bright. This movie, it just seemed bright, and like
So they just need to do
they
it better.
they had to do a lot of CGI because some of the fighting stuff when
Right.
they're doing a lot of the combat, an actor, a stunt double or whatever, they can't do that. I get it. The movie was fantastic, but there were just a couple parts where I just thought like, okay, like that looks fake. And here's my problem: I got really spoiled with Transformers 2. With Shia LaBeouf, and he's running through the forest, and all of a sudden, Ultron is fighting Megatron and a couple of the other Decepticons in the forest, and the whole forest is exploding around Shia LaBeouf, and Bumblebee comes. I thought, like, to me, at that time, I was like, okay, that's when CGI took it to another step because it showed real world interaction with CGI. It wasn't just all CGI. And there were a couple parts, what I thought in Black Panther, where it was just all CGI. And I really like where you see that world mix, with that world mix of reality and CGI, like where they can do it on top of it.
I'm definitely excited to see it.
Oh, it's bro, it's phenomenal. Like it's great, and that's me nitpicking. The movie itself is a lot of fun. I really really enjoyed the movie. I will probably try to see it again, and then I'll go see Infinity War like 3 times.
Dude,
Like I already had a buddy who took a day the day it
like
comes
I
out
need
off
to
of
get
work.
all of these done. I need to get them watched so that way I can go into.
You need to get
War,
on
'cause
Netflix.
Infinity War has to like be a theater movie. Like I have to see. Like I have. It's hard for me to get out to the movies. I got kids. I work nights. Like and I mean, I got to spend time with the family. Our kids are a little bit too little to be taken to Marvel movies and things like that. It's hard for me to get away. But it's like Infinity War. That's a thing that like has to happen.
Yeah,
Has to happen.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Like,
So this has been the Epic Movie Night podcast. So
hey, movies are great too. Yeah, sorry about that. Just that and yeah, earlier today I watched the majority. I didn't get to finish it, but I watched the majority again of Thor Ragnarok. It's so good and it's so funny. And my favorite character in the movie is the blue rock guy. I think his name is Korg, and he's played by the director.
That's awesome.
So if you see this like huge blue rock guy, which you will see him, he has such a dry sense of humor in the movie, but it's totally, you know who he reminds me of? Guardians of the Galaxy, Batista's character.
Oh, nice.
Drax. Yeah, he's a blue rock Drax. That's what he is, and he's so literal, and it's just absolutely hilarious. So anyway, good stuff.
But yeah, hey, let's talk about some board games.
Let's talk about them making these movies into board games. That's what I'm excited about. Harry Potter, the board game. This one looks, and with the miniatures, they already look great. It's going to get my money.
That Kickstarter.
Yeah, and see, that's the other thing that sucks about it, though, because, and it's not that it sucks, and I'm not trying to complain for he who shall not be named. Well, it's not that, but like next week, Batman on Kickstarter comes out.
Yeah.
All right, and Batman's probably not going to be a cheap Kickstarter. And it's a
Kickstarter exclusive.
And I'll probably end up getting Batman.
I really want Batman, but I'm just like, Batman, or should I like look at the Fallout miniatures game? Like, I'm like, what do I want to mess with? I don't have that many, so.
Well, I like the Fallout miniatures game. I'll play somebody else's copy. Anyway,
I'm just saying I have super limited. So
now, if they made a Skyrim game, which there are plenty of games like Skyrim, but that's another IP. But so we got Batman coming out next week, and then like 3 weeks later, or 2 weeks later, no, 3 weeks, right? We have Harry Potter coming out. And I still have Loot and Shoot that needs to fund. You guys need to jump on that, because if that doesn't fund, I'm just going to go buy a rubber band gun and just start shooting people and just shooting things. But yeah, man, it's just these next couple of weeks on Kickstarter. And it's just a dream, right? You put money into this machine called Kickstarter. It never comes in the form of games, but eventually they do come. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm depressed and I'm excited because like I need to be financially responsible, Roy. I need to be like you.
You need to be. It's not financially responsible. It's financially not there. No, I'm just kidding. But hey, we're getting better. We'll be good.
Yes. Oh man. Anyway, I'm excited. Boom. Awesome. Any other news?
Well, not really. But we have tons to talk about that we've been playing because we just got back from doing Recon. We did that Saturday. And that was a huge success. We had like a lot of people there. There was a ton of people.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty ridiculous. I mean, it was a completely free event, so that was one of the downsides of doing a completely free event is it's hard to like gauge exactly how many people show up because people can just show up through the front door and then leave because they play a few games and leave, and you're never really quite sure they were ever there.
Yeah.
But we had well over like 150, 200, could be even a ton of people. I saw a bunch of different people the whole day. So.
Oh yeah, well, and when I got there, I got there late morning. Parking lot was absolutely packed, like waiting for somebody to leave type of a thing. I just got really lucky that somebody left shortly after I pulled in. Also got to play with Kent Parker.
Yeah, Kent Parker's in chat. Hype.
Kent Parker is in chat. Love that guy. the
I do want to
Slender
talk
Man of
about
fans. But
one game that I got to play with Kent. We got to play Summoner Wars, and we talked about Summoner Wars a ton on the show. But like,
it's such a good
that
game.
game just holds up over time. Like, it's the game that started Plaid Hat, but I still really enjoy that game. It's just strategic or tactical, like, game where you've got your summoner out there and you have a deck of cards and you're just building magic and casting those cards on the battlefield. Kent was talking about it and he was like, oh, it's like a miniatures game but with cards. I'm like, that's what everybody calls it. Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, it was really cool it's just fun to show a game that you really enjoy to people that haven't played it yet that are also into board games. It was really cool to be able to show Kent Summoner Wars for the first time and be able to play that back.
It's such a great game, and I have like the Master Edition, with like a ton. I think I've got everything for Summoner Wars.
It's kind of cool.
And it is just that it is a miniatures game that you use cards instead of minis.
It's cool because you can like get the game for super cheap and just get like one of those 2-player sets. It only comes with a paper map, but like if you just want to try it out, you could be like, okay, let me get the like little cheap version. Or you can be like, okay, let me get one of the Master set or the Alliances set. And any of those are great starting points. Like just because it's the Alliance set and it came out like way later, you can still play with Alliances just fine with just the Alliance set.
Oh man,
and
my favorite team is still from just the first Master set. Those Mountain Vargoth.
Oh yeah,
bro, those are the best.
Yeah, so there's tons of awesome stuff in that game, and it's just fun. It's if there's a game that I'm gonna play that nobody has any experience with, and you can just sit, or your opponent doesn't necessarily have experience with, and you can just throw somebody into, like Summoner Wars is a great game. Just throw a table and awesome. Yeah, what's some of the other games you got to play, Rob?
I've never played this game before. I got to play Hanabi for the first time ever.
Oh man, that was
hilarious. I played Hanabi. According to Roy, totally cheated.
We started playing Hanabi, or Rob was sitting down to play Hanabi with this guy. This guy invited Rob to play Hanabi with him, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
And it's part of our topic, but I saw this guy just walking around, right? And he was just looking at people playing games and stuff like that. Not that I felt bad for him or anything, but I was like, oh, okay, this guy's trying to get into a game. And I saw him go grab Hanabi, and then I saw him grab one of the things you set up that said players wanted.
Gotcha.
And you and we were talking along the back wall. Like this is like minutes after I just got in there, right? And then we're talking along the back wall. I see this guy happen, so I go put my stuff down, and I'm like, you know what? I've heard good things about Hanabi, and so I'm gonna tell this guy I'm gonna play. And so I walked by him, and I was like, hey man, you're about to play? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I would love to play. I'm just gonna go get a drink. I'll be right back, because I had been up at 7:00 for cooking breakfast for a bunch of men at my church. And so that was fun, but I needed like a coffee or something to boost me back up. So anyway, Roy joined us, and then Jeremy and his lovely daughter, I believe Michaela. Man, Michaela, bro, she was stressed out about some Hanabi. She was stressed out.
It was funny. As soon as we sat down to do Hanabi, I'm like, we're playing Hanabi. We're playing with Rob. Like, before we even started the game, I'm like, I don't know that Rob's going to be able to play this game correctly. Like, I know Rob well enough, because in Hanabi, you're technically not supposed to say anything besides the number and colors when you're giving clues.
I didn't. I did not say anything.
Like, I think when you're playing the game, you're really not supposed to say anything else. Like, I mean, like, not anything at all. But, I mean, we always table talk when we play any games. We always banter back and forth. We always have fun. But it's just so hilarious. I'm just like, I'm going to be able to read Rob like a book no matter what happens.
Well, and here's the other thing. So, Jeremy, who's actually in the chat tonight, Jeremy was across from me on the table. I had never met Jeremy before. I had no idea who he was. And so anyway, so we're sitting down, and they just got done playing a game, and they had like that deer in the headlights look like, what are we going to do now? And so I was like, hey, why don't you guys come play Hanabi with us? And so we started going, and Roy's talking, and Jeremy and I are making eyes at each other the whole time, like get that card. Like, no, look at that card right there. Totally not saying anything, but like winking, and just giving each other a hard time. Not a hard time, but like telling each other what else to do. And like Jeremy would touch a card, and I'd like wink at him or shake my head, like yeah, yeah, or he'd touch another card, and I'd be like no, no. But here's the thing: we had a blast.
I was trying so hard to get us to play the game the right way, but then at a certain point, I'm just like, there's no way to care about this anymore. We have not played this at all the right way. It's fine. But we had fun.
I had a blast. I had a good time. I had a good time playing with Jeremy and Michaela and you, and I can't remember who the other gentleman's name was, but he threw away a 5, and thank goodness we were playing with the rainbow cards, because if he had not, we would have lost the game. And then he ended up. In fact, it was funny because Roy, almost when we were done with the game. So in Hanabi, you're trying for those that don't know, Hanabi is a card game where you're holding a set of 5 cards in your hand, and the cards are facing opposite of you, so everybody else at the table can see your cards except for you.
Trying to make a beautiful fireworks display.
Yes, and you need to do it in order 1 through 5. And so there's yellow, white, green, pink, and I believe blue are the different colors. And before you can play down like a yellow 5, you need to play down the 1, 2, 3, and 4 first, right? So you're trying to go in order. And so if somebody discards a card because they don't know what they have and it's a high card, the higher in the numbers you go, the fewer cards there are. And so at the 5 range, there's only 1 of each color. We just got lucky because whoever brought the game also included the rainbow stack in it. And the rainbow stack is basically, it's every color. And so it's a wild card. And so we had a couple wild 5s in there, and that's what was able to save us. And so it was a lot of fun. By the time we got done playing, everybody was just kind of, nodding and like, just go ahead and do this and go ahead and do that. And it was a good time. It was a good time. It's one of those games where like, I would never take that game seriously. For one, you're making a fireworks stand.
You're really just matching numbers.
Yeah, you're just matching numbers. Like it's funny. It's lightweight.
It's an interesting game of.
If you're gonna take that game seriously, I don't mean this to be rude or anything, but don't play with me. Not that I'm trying to like cheat or whatever, but I was just having fun.
There's a lot of people that would get super mad at you playing that game.
Oh yeah, and I probably want to play with those people. Not that I don't like them, and I'll play another game with them. But that's such a fun, chill, relaxed game. Where it's just like, hey, let's just be silly, and make these decisions.
Darth in chat says that every victory comes with an asterisk. And
that's right.
So true in that game. I've never played a game of Hanabi where it's like, okay, we did that fair.
Anyway, it was a good time. So I played Hanabi, which I never played before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely a bunch of fun.
Yeah. And then what else did we play?
Awesome. I want to talk about a game that I played just today.
Okay, what'd you play?
I played Mythic Battles Pantheon. I got a chance to
play played that with Trevor?
Trevor today, yes.
And you guys didn't text me? I even told both of you over the weekend, hey man, if you guys get together, text
me. You didn't tell me.
Yeah, he was standing right beside you.
I was teaching rules or something. I would have. I thought you were busy. Sorry, man. I was just trying to play more to the lore of our rolling dice.
Yeah, you're bad, Trevor. You're bad.
Dude, I feel like there's a bunch of times we have when we're like, hey,
is it great?
Together. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So basically the way it starts is everybody gets to draft all these different gods and heroes and monsters and different like troop units. So basically you roll off to see who goes first, and then you can draft, and you draft a god. Whoever drafts first gets to just pick one, but then the second person gets to draft 2 things back to back, and then you just go back and forth drafting until you have enough points to fill up your team. I forget exactly how many points it is. I think it's around like 25. But anyway, after you draft your god, you have 12 points left to draft all your different units and stuff like that. So I got Zeus, and Trevor was Ellis or whatever. Hades. He was Hades. And we went back and forth drafting stuff. It was cool because I got like Hercules and I got Cerberus, and it was cool to have all these different mythical characters you can draft as. But then when you play the game, it uses an interesting like deck action mechanic, and it's very different from, but feels a little bit Command and Colors Battle Lore-ish with the whole action deck, just because cards will come up and you're only able to move the characters that you have cards for. So you're drawing cards out of this deck, but then you're spending the cards and playing them out to actually move those characters. So sometimes you want to move your god or move, I want to move my god, this specific guy, but I don't currently have the card for it. It also has these like Art of War cards, and those cards can be used for like to take a bunch of different things. Use them to take an extra action, so you can move 2 people in one turn, which is really cool. You can use it to draw just 2 random cards off of your own deck, which will essentially let you have more options on who you're using. Or you can spend it to just search through your deck and get a specific card. So you're kind of spending it to be able to do something maybe later, or you can spend them faster to try to do stuff more. But it was pretty cool because you can play these cards out and you're able to attack with different people. It was funny because we were playing a game and Trevor said this wasn't very typical of the game. In the game, you're trying to get out. There's all these little jewels. They have a specific name that matches the theme or whatever, but they're all like in the middle of the board. Trying to go out there and get them with your other characters and bring them back to your god, and then he like consumes them, and if you get 4 of them, then you win the game. So you can run your god around there and he has a chance to get hit and killed, or you can bring your other guys out there and grab them and bring them back to your god and try to win the game that way. Or you lose the game if your god dies. So we played, Trevor immediately ran like all the way towards like super close to my side of the board. We played a couple guys out on the board first, but then he just ran his god like all the way to the other side of the board, trying to get a gem that was closer to my side, so it made it so I had kind of like less to choose from. Well, I immediately put Hercules up there on top of his person. Hercules makes it so that people can't run away from him. So he was like, great, now my god's got these people on there. So then I immediately moved the 3-headed guy on there, and he moves one of his things on there.
The 3-headed dog?
The 3-headed dog, the Cerberus or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of guys like near the middle of the board. His god's like clogged up with a bunch of my guys. Another interesting thing is you can only have a certain number of units in specific spaces, so you can kind of do like tricky, strategic, like tactical things about trying to like block other units from being able to come into the space and things like that. So I used a special ability to kick his troops out, and then I threw my god in there too. So it was like I had all my people dogpiled on his god. So Trevor was stressing out like, oh my goodness, he's going to like take out my god. And then I drew 0 cards for any of the characters that would actually fight his guy. And I drew a bunch of cards for all my other stuff. So I'm like slowly moving my other things around. I used a bunch of my action, my Art of War cards to be able to get myself in that situation where I was dogpiling him. And I was like, I dogpiled him. Now I'm just going to get my other cards and then just attack him until he's dead. Like I was just trying to kill him. But I couldn't draw any of those cards, like at all. It was
That's
like,
the worst.
oh my goodness. So I'm moving the other people around, and there was a lot of smarter plays I could have played. Like, the point of the game is to get the gems. If I would have thrown somebody else in there instead of my own god, then my own god could be running around collecting stuff while I had his god, like, tied down. I could have done a bunch of cool things, but I had no clue what I was doing because it was the first time I played the game. So we basically slogged back and forth. I have a picture that I took that I'm going to post to Instagram soon, but it's literally, like, all of our units just in, like, these 3 spaces, and, like, you have a limit of, like, anywhere from like 3 to 5 characters in a space, and like every space is just filled up in those spaces, and it's just like tons of units all on one side of the board, and they're just all like taking turns just swiping and hitting at each other, and all the little troop units are taking the hits for the big guys, so we're just slowly killing off troops. And then I didn't realize this, but you can play one of those Art of War cards and then just respawn all of your troops, so the troops die and they can be used to defend your god, but then you can just play one card and they all respawn on the board, and I'm just like, what's going on? I'm never going to kill anything. So we played until Trevor slowly killed off all my people just because I had the chance and it didn't happen. And it was a lot of fun. I'm definitely interested to play again now that I kind of know the rules and stuff, but the miniatures are pretty cool, and it's definitely a cool theme, and it's cool that you get to draft all your characters and you can have like a mix and match army each time you play. So yeah, definitely gives me a little bit of that like skirmish combat in each other face sort of game, but in a board game form. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I want to see your picture, and we'll check it out, type of a thing. A lot of hype behind that game.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to play with like the tons of other stuff, because I know the Kickstarter had tons of options of gods and miniatures and different armies. Trevor actually left it over here, so if you want to come over at any time, we can play.
I may have to do that. Is it now? How many people can it play?
There are scenarios that actually take it up to like 4
Oh, so is it naturally just a one?
Well, there's
1v1?
several scenarios that are 1 versus 1. They actually have scenarios in there that are cooperative, which seem kind of interesting. I'm not sure how it all works, but he's got scenario books for like lots of different stuff. Cooperative things, like sometimes you're playing the gods, like fighting against the different monsters, which seems pretty interesting. So I guess there's several different ways you can play the game, but I guess the standard game is my god and armies versus god and armies.
Got it.
Greek
Okay.
mythologies, all sorts.
Sounds right up my alley.
So do you want to talk about the game that is the picture behind me? Because we definitely had a blast playing that one.
So, we got to play Deception Murder in Hong Kong with the brand new cards. Love the box, the new box. So mine came in last week. Is able to fit everything in from the original game with the expansion stuff. And first of all, I really like the plastic insert that came with it naturally because everything just like fits really well. And so that just made it really easy for transportation. Because you know how some games, like there's a lot of wasted space in the box, or it's too bulky and you got to remove the insert. No, this insert worked really great.
Or the insert's in there, but then there's a gap at the top, and then the pieces fall everywhere.
Yeah,
Deception
yeah.
definitely had that issue before. So
Well, this one definitely just it seemed to work really well, and I was really excited about it. But I also, when I did the Kickstarter on it, I also got several of the international bonus stuff that came with it. So we had a bunch of themes from Italy, France, Germany, just different parts of Europe. And there were a couple, I think maybe some in Asia or something like that. But anyway, so we did not play with any of the new characters because when Roy and I play that, typically we like to play it at conventions because it's a great party game. It's a great game to get a lot of strangers together. And so we played with all brand new people, except for this one kid. We played with this one kid who, with the tie-dye t-shirt, Roy knows who I'm talking about, who was adamant about being the forensic scientist. And it was our very last game that we played. We played it like 4 or 5 times. The new cards and everything, it's a lot of the same game, but it's still such an amazing game. It's still my favorite social deduction game. If you ever have a big group, definitely play Deception Murder in Hong
a
Kong.
chance to play with a bunch of the different country.
Well, yeah,
There's a lot
we
of
played with
Canada
that, but
stuff going on.
yeah.
A lot of like definitely like different country.
Yes, they had that stuff in there, and we made sure for the first game that we did not mix in any of the original stuff because we wanted to play with like the newer cards, the newer clues, like the weapon and the item left behind type of a thing. But I have never played when a forensic scientist put nothing down for 2 or 3 answers. If you look at those like orange cards, like where it says condition of the body or attitude of the person, a lot of them at the very bottom will say nothing or nothing left at the scene, right? Like if it's just not a good answer.
Undetermined.
Or undetermined. Oh my, the only way you won that game, bro, the only way you won that game is because you knew that I was the murderer.
Yeah, so let me set this up. I was the witness, and then we were playing the game, and we're playing around. I knew that Rob and this one other guy. It was Jeremy. So I
we
knew
couldn't
Rob
get
and
rid of Jeremy. We played one game with Jeremy, and he just followed us around all day.
It was fun.
I'm just giving him a hard time.
Rob and Jeremy were the murderer and accomplice. So I was the witness. I didn't know which was which. So we're playing the game, and I'm trying to be a good witness and spread the love of accusations around to everybody. So I definitely did a lot of that, and definitely not focus on Rob and Jeremy. Like I didn't focus on Rob like at all. Like I didn't really accuse him much of anything. But that's because I was leaning towards like Rob actually being the murderer. I'm like, I know that one of these is the murder and the other isn't. The way that I knew it was Rob was the murderer was because he took the bus and he ran Jeremy over backwards and forwards as the murderer. Because he's like, oh, he's my accomplice. Let me just accuse him of everything. No matter what it is, let me accuse Jeremy of any little thing. He's like, mirror, he's murder. This other thing, he's got to be the murderer. This other thing, oh, obviously he's the murderer. I'm like, dude, obviously Jeremy is not the murderer because I know one of you is the accomplice, and if Rob was the accomplice, he would not be throwing Jeremy under the bus this much. So I'm just like, okay, so I know it's Rob. And as Rob said, we had no clues to go on, basically. So I'm just like, what's going on? And there were tons of stuff that were pointing. We were playing with my pastor Mike, who helped me put on the convention. He had tons of stuff that looked like it was him. So Rob was going hard, accusing Mike of a ton of stuff. So I'm also accusing Mike of a ton of stuff because I want Rob to be like, oh yeah, Roy, he has no clue what's going on. I'm tricking Roy. Roy's gonna vote for Mike's stuff. So literally, people are throwing out votes on all sorts of crazy stuff like during the last round. And I just was thinking, because I kind of had accused Rob a little bit of the library thing a little bit there. But I just went hard. I'm just like, it's library and chain. Just because, like, out of what this guy's confused things that he'd put out there, I'm just like, maybe it could be this.
He said the weapon was hard to acquire.
And chain is not hard to acquire, but for some reason I'm like, let me think what this guy might be hard to acquire, but a chain's not hard to acquire. You can go to Lowe's and get a chain like
you can go to Walmart. You can go to anywhere and get a chain.
I was just like,
and he was setting it up that your pastor because like your pastor
he was super guilty.
Like, he had antiques. He had the candle, like the candelabra. Like he had a lot of stuff that looked like, okay, like this could be hard to acquire type of a thing. And even Kent Parker, like I got Kent, and that's another reason why I threw Jeremy under the bus because like. Kent at one point was like, I don't know, he's got that new gaming system. Maybe that's what's hard to acquire. And he killed the other guy to get it from him or something.
Oh,
and I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, Jeremy did it. It's such a fun game, even when you don't have a good forensic scientist. I mean, of course, a good forensic scientist makes it better, but
I literally accused Rob out of nowhere.
It definitely came out of left field.
I was just like, chain and dictionary. And he's like, yes. And I was so nervous because I was the witness. So if they accuse me,
that kid just got so excited because he was like, yeah, I did a great job. No, you really didn't.
But yeah, I was like, oh man, like Rob is gonna accuse me because I accused him out of left field, and this is not gonna be good. This is not gonna work. And Rob's like, I feel like accusing you just because you said that and all this stuff, but. I had tried to like really not accuse Rob of much during the game, and then I just went hard at the very end and used my vote on Rob.
Yeah.
But then for some reason, I don't know what your thought process was, but you're just like, oh, no.
You went so hard, so fast. I was like, no, it can't be. Like, that's too obvious that you're the witness because it just came out of left field. I was like, no way. That's too obvious he's the witness. Roy would never make a rookie mistake like that. And it wasn't a rookie mistake. He messed with my psyche.
I was trying to play it the whole game. Like I was trying to accuse everybody else
you
really
never
hard.
One time said me anything. Like it when you all of a sudden said dictionary metal chain, it like knocked the wind out of me. I was like, what? This just what? Because we're all looking at the opposite
I was paying
corner.
attention the whole game. I was watching and figuring out and like making it happen because the problem is, as the witness, I couldn't argue and talk people into voting for you because then I would get caught. So it's like
that would have given you away.
I had to do it myself. So it's like, and I had to do it myself inconspicuous enough. So I love the game when that game is just so good because I can literally watch and pay attention to what's going on as an investigator or different things like that. Yeah. I've done this before. The last time I played it with my mom and dad, like my mom was the forensic scientist and she was putting stuff out and I had a feeling that it was my dad, but just because the stuff she put out, like I didn't really conversate or talk about anything and she put things out and I looked at it and I looked around the table and I immediately voted and voted for what my dad had and just immediately. We weren't playing with the witness that time, but it was pretty awesome.
To me it's an instant bring. AJ and I did it before the third clue was out. But to me, that's an instant bring for conventions, that game. It's just, it's like Strike, in a way. Like you got to bring it, people will play it. It's just that good.
Awesome. Well, let's get into our topic tonight, seeing that we're a ways in on time. We're going to talk about playing games with strangers, which you've already talked about a little bit tonight. So how often do you play games with people you don't know?
I play more with people that I know just because like we schedule the game days.
Right.
I typically play games with people that I don't know, like when we go to conventions, and I want to play with people that I really don't know. Like I'll play with like a friend or two, but I want the majority of people to be with people I've never played with before.
Yeah.
Um, so not as often as I'd like, but I don't always just stick with like my same group either. How about you?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much about it. I would love to play with more people. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could if I got a chance to go to like different meetups and stuff like that. I'd be able to
Yeah.
meet cool new people who play board games that I haven't played. Since I'm mostly stuck at my house watching babies most of the time, I just get to when I go out to the stuff. And what do you think is different about playing games with new people as to playing a game with people?
Um, all right, hold on. Say that again. I'm trying
So,
to read Mark Cale's bad grammar. Even though he did not send the invite for me for Mega Moose Con, which I appreciate that. So I'm sorry, I just got distracted by his terrible typing skills.
um, what what is different about playing a game with people you've never played a game with before, as opposed to playing with people that are normally part of your game group?
Oh, I love it because I have no expectations.
Yeah,
Like everything is brand new. It's like I see the people almost as much as I see the game as like a new toy. Like
yeah.
well,
Especially with
because
some of the
like
social deduction games, it's really fun because
absolutely, and you don't know the personalities, and you don't know who's gonna be like what, or who's gonna say what, or who you're gonna get to come out of their shell. Like I love it when, like for example, when we were playing Hanabi, that guy that started the game, you could see that he was kind of an introvert, right? And by the end of the game, he's laughing and joking around and pointing and stuff like that. Like it was fun for me to see him do that. I love it. Um, Playing with new. Um, but yeah, my expectations, they're just, I go into it almost like a newborn babe, just whatever happens, happens. And because here's the problem when you play with people that you know them. So, like, I know Roy's mannerisms. Roy, 9 out of 10 times, is the traitor. He's
no,
just,
no
he's
way,
just, he
never.
just, yes. Like, like I know when I play with Matt, Matt's gonna try to do some like crazy scheme. AJ's gonna backstab you like a ninja, but he's good at it. Hector's just gonna be wherever Hector is. But I'll tell you what, whenever Hector comes in, I always have a good time. Um, but I don't know. It's like I know you guys, so it almost makes it like more competitive. Because when I play with people I don't know, one, um, I never try to go hard
Yeah,
because I don't know you, and that's one of the things you got to be careful about. Because like there are games I've gone hard with Roy and some of my other friends, but they know me, and so like they're like, okay, like Rob's just being Rob, or they're just being so and so. But when I don't know somebody, and I'm a big loud person, if I try to go hard, that can be awkward or intimidating for some people. And so I try not to do that to the best of my ability with new
just play it
people.
more casual and just have fun with it.
Well, yeah, and you know it's just that. Like let's just have fun. There is no baggage or history or anything. It's a new toy, it's a new person, new personality. And also you get to make more friends. Like I love playing games with you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, I like playing with new people. It was fun playing with Jeremy and his daughter, and I always have fun playing with Kent. And so you know, but I haven't played games with Kent in a while. And so it's just yeah,
One of the things that I like really is that I mean most of the games that we play, like we all already know how to play them, and you've all seen them before and things like that, or you know about them. It's really cool to like show a new person a game that you really love. It's like, oh, you have never played Deception Murder Hong Kong? Sit
yeah.
down. Let us show you what this game is. And it's really fun to like see people get into a game that you really enjoy as well, but they've never played it before or haven't heard of it before, just haven't been able to mess around with it. Get to interact with new people that you haven't interacted in those games and get them into a game that you really love as well. So that's really
It would see the problem with that at the same time though. for us addicts out there, right? Because I would say that I'm like an addict at acquiring the games or whatever. Um, it also justifies it. Oh, well, these people really like the game, so like, of course, I need to spend more money and buy more games like this game because obviously I'm not wrong. Obviously, I'm getting good games, and so yeah, just yeah, guys, wait until next time when I bring that new one, right? And sometimes I don't know if anybody else does that, but sometimes in the back of my head, when I buy that game and I play it with people, that happens for me. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's just like, oh, great, like okay, this is something that like universally the majority of people play it and are liking it, and so it makes me want to get more stuff like that.
And sometimes people don't know your meta or how you play the game. So like if you're playing a hidden trader game, maybe you can blend it a little bit more. If you're not playing with Rob, then you can blend it a little bit more.
Well, and the other problem, when you're teaching the game to new people, other people like to type in chat, quit alpha gaming and stuff like that, and it just tears you down on the inside. You just cry a little bit on the inside because I'm not alpha gaming. I'm just trying to help somebody who's literally never played before. I'm just trying to be nice. I could not say anything and then just wreck them, like what happened with Rising Sun. I gave that guy the first round and a half, and they ended up winning, but it's because I helped him.
Greg's really smart, so you probably too much going on.
Well, and by the middle of the second round, when we were 4 hours into the game, oh my god. Well, we won't talk about that. But anyway,
it was rough. I think I want to play Rising Sun at lower player counts from now.
Well, see, here's the thing: we played at 6 for the first time at your house, with all of us being brand new except for you and Matt, and we got done in right under 3 hours.
I really like the Cammy, but I feel like the fact that you can move them 3 times every, kind of like.
But that shouldn't take that much longer to make that decision.
But
it should not take
matters.
You. Oh my gosh, though! But still, like it, you should know. All right, I need to move them here because so and so moved this stuff here, or I need to do this, or I need to keep them. Like, I hate analysis paralysis. For those that don't understand, we played Rising Sun. It took over 5 hours to play Rising Sun. And I like the game. I've only played it twice, but that's not a 5-hour game. It should not take 5 hours. We started playing before 3 o'clock and we ended right at 8 o'clock. Should not have taken that long to play that game. And I just pay attention when it's not your turn. And even if you don't pay attention, don't take 10 to 15 minutes to make a decision. Like on Rising Sun, you need to think a little bit, so I get you. But my average turn is about a minute, maybe 2 minutes at most. But man, that just at the end of the game, I didn't care, and I only lost by a couple points, but I did not care.
Close.
Well, I needed to leave. I had stuff to do. I was already late, but I didn't want to like leave so close to the end of the game, which I should have though. But like to me, I don't know if you saw me, but I was just shaking. Like my legs were shaking, my arms were shaking. I was just like, I'm going. If it was my copy, I would have been like, sorry guys, I gotta go. Bye. But it was the amazing Kent Parker's. I can't handle that, man. To me, I think it's, and this is just my own paranoia. This does not represent EGN or anything like that. But to me, I feel like it's almost disrespectful in a way because it's like we're all trying to play the game, pay attention.
Where was it? Was it me? Like who was it? Like
it was
just all of us.
It was a combination of everything. I'm not gonna point names or point or anything like that, but should not take 5 hours.
Yeah,
and we played with less people. We played with 5.
Kent's asking who had AP. I feel the same way. I feel like we all were trying to figure things out, but the options that we had, everybody was like, "Oh crap, we got to do this. Oh crap, we got to do this." There's a lot of things in that game that are very thinky that go on constantly, throughout the game. It's like, oh crap, this thing, and oh crap, this thing. And there's lots of things and I feel like the Cammy helped make that happen
I would say that the Cammy added maybe a half an hour extra to the game.
Right.
So what should have been a 3 hour plus game ended up becoming like a 5+ hour long game. You realize when we played TI4,
It took about the same amount of time.
TI4 was only about 45 minutes longer. A full game of TI4.
That's pretty intense. But we were playing with new players all the way around the board, except for me.
I understand. I'm just anyway. It was still fun.
Awesome. So next, what are some games? Speaking of games that don't necessarily work good, what are some games that work really good with people that you don't know?
Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. Strike.
Some
Happy
fun dexterity
Salmon.
games like Rhino Hero and things like that
Absolutely.
are always fun. It's really cool to start off with people you don't know with like a really light, easy game. Like, hey, we've never played a game before. Let's play something fun and silly or something light. It's super fun. But yeah, any of that like filler games seem like a great thing to play in that game.
Oh, yeah, especially with brand new people that you've never played with before or anything like that. And it also depends on how well you know them. You may have never played a game with them before, but you may know them outside of gaming for whatever reason. But anyway, it's just I don't try to go heavy games when I'm playing with brand new people before. And the people that we played Rising Sun with over the weekend were not brand new gamers.
Right.
So that, that wasn't terrible or anything like that. So it was good.
Nice. But yeah, definitely agree on these games. What's your favorite part about playing with? I think we already talked about this a lot, but what's your favorite part about playing with that you don't normally?
I love making people laugh. And I like you hear me like just a couple minutes ago yelling at people for stuff like that. But I'm actually not that mean of a person. I'm kind of a nice. I like to consider myself kind of a nice person. In real life, he who shall not be named would disagree with you guys. But I don't know. I really like it because when I see people laughing, to me, I see barriers and or walls falling, and it's like, okay, like we're having a fun time. Like, okay, they're genuinely laughing. We're having a good time. And so I'd love to see that from new people that I've never played with before. Because then I know, like, okay, they're calm. They're calmed down. They're chill. They're having a good time. I don't like when I've never played with people before to see that stern face. It's like, okay. Like, are you planning to kill me as an individual? Or are you just trying to win this game? Because I don't know them, right? I don't know them. So I always love to try to make it like lighthearted and fun and like just like I did with Hanabi. Let's just have fun. Let's just be silly. And we'll go from there. So
it's always interesting to like figure out how different people act or interact with the game itself. You interact with you within the confines of the game. It's kind of fun to like meet new people as you play the game.
Yeah.
And then also like kind of try to figure out what their gaming tastes are, because everybody has different tastes and there's people that are on completely different spectrums as far as like their tastes go for board games. It was really fun to find that stuff out. You're meeting new different types of gamers. So awesome. So hey, have you ever run into?
Sorry, he just made a comment in chat. It was hilarious when I took your homeworld because you were like, "Are you going for Megatall?" And I was like, "No, I'm not going to go for Megatall Rex." Boom, got your house.
Got your house.
Got your house.
Have you ever run into any issues when playing with people you didn't know?
A couple of times, but it's nothing that I wasn't able to handle it. Like sometimes you play with some people that are just like super aggressive all the time, especially in like younger people when I try to do youth events and stuff at church. Like, hey guys, calm down. It's just a game type of a thing.
Like too competitive?
Yeah, like, okay, at the end of the day, we're just playing a game. Like I had fun playing Rising Sun with everybody. It wasn't that I don't think anybody was being too competitive, and the game was close. The only thing that bothered me was just the turns taking so long, and that's just my ADD kicking in where I just like, come on, come on. I don't like just sitting here not doing anything like it. So anyway, but I don't run into a lot of issues with that. The other
Yeah.
thing that's nice about being my size is some people kind of find it intimidating. And so I say that to say that, like, when I play games with people, especially people that are already introverts, they'll be more quiet up front. And then when they see that it's fun and I don't care and like we're just having a good time,
Oh,
then they come out with it more rather than just having an attitude up front. Like that's the only issues I've run into is like maybe some younger people and maybe a couple of just like two hardcore gamers that I've never played with before, but just from the get-go, like they didn't care who you are, what was going on. They were just going to win the game at all cost. And you know what? I'm never going to see you again anyway, so screw you type of a thing. I don't like that so much. And so I just yeah, I try to dissolve the situation, or I'll not that I'll leave the game, but I'll just shut down and get quiet because I don't want to fight with you out in public because that's not a good scene. That's not fun.
yeah,
That
for
leaves a
sure.
bad taste in your mouth.
I
So then I'll just leave as soon as the game's over with.
I had a game of Cosmic Encounter, and Cosmic Encounter is one of like my favorite games. Like I love that game. It's got lots of negotiation things like that. I was playing a game of Cosmic Encounter at a meetup event, so I was playing with other random people that I'm pretty sure I had only played the game with like this one guy in the group that we were playing Cosmic Encounter with. Cosmic Encounter is kind of a interesting game to play with completely like people don't know because there's like no real meta there and you don't really know what's going on and it's hard to, especially if they know each other and they don't know you, it's a little bit harder
Yeah.
to get into alliances with people and stuff like that. We were playing the game. There was one guy who was playing the masochist and their job is to if they get all of their ships killed off, they just win the game. It's just their special abilities. They're trying to kill their own ships, and if people let them kill off every single one of their own ships, they just win. So we're playing the game, and I'm trying to help people remember and point that out. Like, this guy's attacking with a bunch of ships, but if you play a really high card, he really wants you to kill his guys off. I know that it looks like he's losing, but he's still kind of winning because you keep killing his guys off. Maybe you should let him win a couple planets, things like that. I'm trying to, like, explain the rules. I explained the rules and taught everybody how to play. There was one guy that, like, I kept having to reiterate just the basic rules of the game over and over and over and over. And then it came to the end where the Masochist was attacking him. And the Masochist was a player that played Cosmic Encounter a ton. He knew what was going on. He knew everything about the game. And was like playing the game really good especially for his faction. And he was attacking with his ships. And I'm like, you have to let him win this battle. You have to let him win. Because if he doesn't win, then we all lose. I'm like, don't you understand? Yeah, exactly. Mobius tubes would have saved us. Mobius tubes, like, gives everybody their ships back. But we did not have Mobius tubes. So I was like, dude, come on. Don't just let him win. And he's like, no, you're trying to trick me. I need to stop him. And I'm just like, you obviously just don't understand the game. You just don't understand, man. So then he killed him, and the guy won. And I was just like, well, that was extremely anticlimactic. And rather annoying. So I've had experiences sometimes when you're playing with people you don't really know. Sometimes, like, if you're playing a weird negotiation game, maybe a game that you love so much.
Did
can
you
be
tell him
completely
though?
ruined.
Did you tell him, hey, if all of his ships die, he wins the game?
A million times. A million.
Yeah, see, like
A
that
million
to me is
times.
just stupid. Like
A million times. So it's kind of
unless
just
they
kinda like,
unless they just wanted the game to end. Like, did he just want the game to end, or he
I'm
thought
pretty
losing battle?
sure it was mostly just like complete incompetence. Like I could tell him things and he just didn't understand what I was saying.
That's terrible.
And for some reason he's like, "Oh, this is an alliance negotiation game. He's just trying to trick me." And I'm like, "No, I don't understand." And it's like it was a game. Like I love Cosmic Encounter, but sometimes with certain games like that, if there's people that just don't really play correctly, then it just like the game fell apart. Like the whole game, like there was a lot of other things that went on in that game too that was just like, guys. So it's like it made a game that I love excruciating to even play. So it's just like, man,
Yeah.
this was rough. So where on a normal day, when I'm playing with normal people, I love that game and it's a blast. And I played that game with a ton of strangers. We also played like the Iron Throne with strangers and stuff too, and that was still a lot of fun too. So yeah, tons of fun. Exactly. And that's how Roy met Mark Cale.
No,
Oh
that's not
no,
how Roy met
Mark
Markel.
Mark would have allied with me every time. You know how that works.
Bro, after that first meeting, I thought he was going to propose to you.
uh,
Mark loves Roy. Literally.
I mean, what's not to love? What are you trying to say, Rob?
I mean, I like you a lot. I mean,
Nice, nice.
anyway.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, do you ever have any anxiety with playing with new people?
No.
I think this
I
is the
mean,
wrong question for us.
you know who I am and
Yeah.
how I am. And you're kind of the same way. Like, we're both introverts, or not introverts, extroverts. Um,
We kind of feed
and
off the energy of other people and being around a
I
bunch of
love
people.
the energy of other people. That's one of the reasons why I like a lot of people in our chat. Like, I love activity. I love things going on. I hate it when it's stale and sitting.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when I'll just start talking. If you see me talking a lot, it's either one, somebody's asking me a question, or two, I feel like, all right, why is nothing happening right now? Like, what's going on?
And there's
Um,
a lot of people that can sometimes be scared to go to game conventions or scared to go to meetup groups because they
yeah,
deal with a lot of like social anxiety about
absolutely.
like being around other and things like that. What can we do to make people feel comfortable playing a game?
Um, One, smile. That's gonna sound so stupid, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's so simple and it's so powerful.
Just be
When
happy when
you
you're playing.
when you can go into a game and just be happy and smile, um, immediately it maybe not drops barriers on people, but they're not gonna put up barriers when you seem like that awkward, nervously angry type of person who's like, huh, like I don't know what I should be doing, type of a thing. Like I would say, just go and smile. And if you don't know the people, um, ask questions, get to know them, ask to play a game, like just sit back and enjoy yourself. I would tell you, if you're like, for example, when I first moved to North Carolina about 4 years ago, I didn't know anybody. When I left my gaming group, moved over here, didn't know a single person. Um, and when I started gaming with people, it's not that I was losing on purpose. I'm not the greatest gamer in the world. I'm a pretty good gamer, but I'm not the greatest. But I wasn't trying. I mean, I was trying because I don't want to come across as, incompetent or anything, but I was more trying to build relationships and have fun. Like, let me get to know Trevor. And I like Trevor. I love Trevor, but he's going to get the rules wrong 75% of the time. And he's probably only going to play the game once. And he's going to teach the rules when he plays it. And he's going to make sure he teaches it where he wins. And then he's never going to play it again. And then he'll sell it. But I've learned that about Trevor after playing with Trevor and getting to know Trevor. I know Roy. Roy is a gamer. Roy likes to win, but Roy also is a heckler. And he's loud, and I've seen him yell at grown women that he've never met before in his life, like literally yelling at them. But like, I would tell you to sit back and just enjoy yourself and get to know people, smile, have fun. Just, you're playing a game. What a blessed person you get to be when you can sit down in this crazy world with all this crazy stuff happening right now, and you have the opportunity to play a board game. Life is good. It could be worse. It could be so much worse. So just enjoy it. That's what I would tell you to that new person that comes in. Just enjoy it.
If you're hosting an event or anything, just make sure to like if there's new people that come in and they look like they're not in a game or they don't know what's going on, like break the ice and help them out by saying hi and smiling like Rob said, and like ask them like what kind of games they're interested in. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that like would love to talk to you about games, but a lot of times they don't know. It's kind of awkward to like start up the conversation, especially if there's someone who's it's hard for them in certain social situations. So just be courteous and not too crazy up in their face, but
Yeah,
chill.
you don't need to be too crazy like that and like hi, hello, hi. Like, you don't need to
Don't
be
scare
like,
people away.
yeah, like, you don't need to be like that type of a thing. But just calm down. Just like, hey, how are you? Yeah, are you playing this game? You have room for one more? I'd love to play. And also, here's a great tip. And I learned this. If this is a good book for a lot of people to read. I read it. It's a sales book, but you don't have to use it for sales. And it's a short book. It's like 150 pages. It's called The Go Giver. All right. It's called The Go Giver, and I'll sum up the book for you real quick. In The Go Giver, it talks about sales and how to approach certain people, and it gives an example that if you are in a party and you're talking to somebody, and let's say somebody's conversing back and forth with you, right? And they say, I'll do it with you. Like we'll just play it out. Roy, hi. How are you?
Good.
You doing good? So what's your name? What do you do for a living, Roy?
Watch babies. I mean, board game media. I mean, put boxes on a pallet.
Put boxes on the pallet. Okay. Right. And then maybe at that point, I'll pursue Roy with other questions. Right.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with a lot of people. A lot of people will start that conversation. Hi, I'm so and so. What do you do? And as soon as they ask, what do you do? They're expecting the reciprocation back to them. Oh, well, I'm Robert and I'm a salesman and I do this. And so they're not really listening to what Roy said. They're listening in their heads to what they're going to say next. And the Go Giver, what they talk about doing is learning how to pursue a conversation. If nobody asks you what you're doing, don't tell them because they don't care. Right?
Don't make
Like
it about yourself.
Don't make it about yourself. If I'm trying to tell people that I sell real estate and nobody's asking me what my profession is, I should probably not bring up that I'm a realtor because nobody's cared enough to ask. But if you're talking about something else, talk about something else. There's a lot of problems and a lot of issues with introverts where they're only comfortable talking about a couple of things, but they may not necessarily need to bring up those couple of things because the people that you're playing a game with don't care about that. Does that make sense? It's not to be rude. You just got to know your audience because you know when you're talking to somebody and they're like listening for a way to get out of the conversation, like that's what I would. My advice to you is like, just pick your conversation points. Know when somebody's engaging you or not engaging you. And if not, just sit back, have fun. Don't be too nervous. Don't be chitty chatty type of a thing. You'll push more people away than you'll attract them in. I'll tell you about land contracts, Adam Sparks.
Is there any advice you can give to someone who would be anxious about social situations? Help them play.
Like they're nervous about social situations?
Yeah, like they're like, oh, well, there's this local convention in town, but I'm not really good at or I don't have any friends that are going with me. What should I do? Would that be a thing worth going to? Or what if you're nervous about play?
I don't know. I would kind of tell you the same thing that I just said. I would also ask you to take a chance and put yourself out there. One thing I really liked about Dice Tower Con, and I'm seeing it more and more, and I saw it at Recon, is the players wanted, teachers wanted thing. Like if you're nervous about meeting people, but you're comfortable with playing a certain game, bring out the game and just, if you don't have the sign, just as people are walking by, ask them if they want to play. A lot of people are going to say no, but enough people will eventually say yes. And here's the other main thing. The answer to the question is already no. I mean, really think about that. Will you play this game with me? You don't know them. They probably were headed to go do something else. So if you can get over the nervousness of them saying no and be surprised by the yes, then the battle's already won, right? Because like, you want to play this game with me? No? Okay, cool. I didn't bring it to play it with you anyway. I'm just asking if anybody wants to play. And so I would tell you to step out a little bit and also to be observant, because there may be somebody else that's not doing there may be somebody else who is doing that, who is sitting at that table that says players wanted, and take a chance and go sit with a stranger and learn how to play. That's what I do with Hanabi. That's what I do with a lot of people. Just get to know them. Just you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, especially if you don't know anybody and you're an introvert. If you're just expecting everybody just to come lay everything at your feet, that's not going to happen. This world is too selfish. People are too selfish. So you got to put yourself out there a little bit and expect great things to come back to you.
What are some good things about stepping outside of your...
right there in the question. You get to meet new people. I know now to never ever play with Jeremy Ross ever again. I've met him. I see what type of crazy person he is, and I know now to never play with Jeremy Ross again. I'm just joking. I actually had a really good time playing with Jeremy. I'm just giving him a hard time. You get to meet new people, right? Like, what's so bad about meeting somebody new?
And you could find people that like you really click with and you game with all the time now.
And then one day you eventually start a podcast with.
Yeah, could happen. As long as you're crazy enough.
But that's exactly what we did. We didn't know each other, and we just played a game together. And it just, I mean, that's how friendships start. That's how dating starts.
The funny thing is you got put into that game. It wasn't even necessarily a 100% choice of your own. They're like, hey, we need somebody to take over this slot. I love this
Trevor
game.
was leaving. Yeah. No. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you get to meet new people. And from now on, like seriously, anytime I saw Jeremy, in all seriousness, I'd probably want to play a game with him and his daughter. Like it's fun to get to meet new people. I always enjoy that, because here's the other thing. When you are an introvert and after you've met new people, you're not alone anymore. I now know Michaela. I now know Jeremy. I now know Roy and Kent and everybody else. Like, I now know these people, right? And so it also helps strip away that feeling of loneliness because you now know people.
That way, next time you go into a social situation, have a few people that you already know to play with those people sometime. So what would you say is your favorite game of all time to play with new people?
You answer that first.
I don't know, man. We talked about it so much already, but it's really hard for me not to choose it. Like, I really enjoy social deduction. And social deduction games are really fun, but I don't think any of them are even as accessible, not to mention as good as Deception and Murder. It's like, I feel like for some reason, just the way that game is, there's a lot going on, like even more than some other social deduction. But I feel like it's easier to get into and play even than just regular Werewolf, because you have one person that's the forensic scientist. You can be the forensic scientist when you're teaching people and kind of explain it as you're going through a little bit, kind of help people get the ropes, and then try to do the best you can to like suss out the murder. There's not 37 different phases where you're closing and opening your eyes and shifting cards around and things like that. You can just kind of play the game, and it's another game that just really helps you get people out of their shell and kind of see what's going on. People can be introverted more while they're playing the game, and maybe that helps them hide within the crowd and be a little bit more quiet. Or you can have the people that are crazy and yelling at like each other and like saying, oh man, they did this because they're the murderer because of this and this, and oh man, there's this and this, and they're trying to figure stuff out and never really know quite who is who and who's playing what, because maybe there's somebody who's normally pretty loud, but they're just trying to be a little bit quieter and hiding because they know that they're the murderer, and maybe if they don't draw attention to themselves, they won't get their stuff called out. There's a lot of stuff you can learn by playing some of those social deduction games, and Deception is definitely the best of the lot.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. And what I also love about that game is it does cause everybody to be engaged.
Yeah.
Like, you can't not be engaged. Even if you don't say anything, you're still being engaged, because then everyone's like, nope, they're the killer. They've said nothing. And then typically after the second person has said you're the killer, they start talking. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just quiet. All right, so you're the killer because you did it with X and X. No, he did it. And next thing you know, you start to see people being more and more engaged. Yeah, I don't know. I've also had good luck with Strike. And I also, to your point, I think Deception right now is probably the best. But I've played Strike with people who are not gamers and introverts, and at the end they're hooping and hollering like, "Oh, you got the pairs, grab them," or "Oh, everything matched, I got to take everything." Like, I really like that one. The reason why I like Deception more than I like Codenames, I think it's harder to screw up on Codenames than it is in Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Wait,
and here's
you
why.
mean it's harder to screw up in Deception than to screw up?
No. See, I think Codenames, if you're the spy in Codenames, and you're playing with people that you've never met before, right? You only get to say one word type of a thing. You say one word and four or three or two or one,
So
right?
you don't really get to know the people that much.
And so I don't really get to know you that well. Where in Deception, it's clues. And so I'm actually saying more by not saying anything, if that makes sense. And typically, when I play Deception, I always have somebody who's played before to be the forensic scientist first, if not myself. And so it helps kind of break barriers down, type of thing. But code names, like the very first time I played code names, I think it was at Mini Mace when we played in the hallway with those guys we never met before. And I think Matt was saying like Police 4, and like Hector got it, but I was like, what? Huh? And the other guys were like, huh? And so just I think it makes it a little bit harder where in Deception, everybody can kind of, if they're going to play the game, they're already kind of used to the IP. Like, okay, a murder happened. We try to solve the murder. Like, okay, I get it. So not Rising Sun or Shadows over Camelot. Even though, I don't know, Shadows over Camelot, that's a good game.
Arrows over Camelot is solid.
Bro, you killed us. So every time I played that game with you, you've been the traitor. Every time I played that game with you. And you always do it in such a terrible, amazing way. You
I don't
suck
know what
me
you're
in.
talking about. I'm never the traitor.
You're the traitor every time. And the problem with you being the traitor, you're such a good helper. Like you're like
I'm the nicest traitor ever.
you're the best player on our team until the very end. Like, oh guys, sorry.
The problem with a
guys,
lot
we
of those
just lost by
games
one. Oh,
and
wait,
being the
I didn't
traitor
lose.
is that the game
Ugh.
itself kills the players. So like what do you even need to do sometimes, it's like I don't need to do anything because the game is killing you guys for me. So it's just like I'll just ride this out and do as much as I can. That has been like a little bit of a backfire a couple times in Battlestar Galactica where I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. We're actually doing good. I need to rethink what's going on a little bit. Like, I need to throw some sort of wrench in here. So
It's tough, man. It's tough because you're so nice. You're so freaking nice in the game.
yeah, I when I played Battlestar Galactica with Crystal and Sam and those awesome guys that like knew every single rule to the game, like I had them the same way as the other times. I was so nice. I was cheering for every roll that
So
killed
helpful.
the Cylon ship. I was discussing how we're gonna figure out who the Cylons are. I was like trying to figure out like, dude, we really need morale boosted because we're gonna lose in morale. If we don't get morale fixed right now, we're gonna lose the game. When really secretly in my head, I'm like, please let us lose their morale.
Hey, did you answer that guy's question a long time ago that asked us, or not long earlier today, about Dead of Winter?
Oh no, I Trevor was over and I showed Trevor. I was like, somebody asked me a question about Dead of Winter. Look at this, and I was like, I can't even read this right now, so I haven't had a chance to.
We'll get to it though. If you're listening, we'll
Dear
get to it.
Lord, it's intense.
Oh,
You're the Dead of
It's
Winter
good
expert,
stuff.
Rob. That's you.
okay. I'll answer it.
No, what was I gonna say?
Your dad's the Dead of Winter expert, actually.
Eyes rolled for those who can't see in the live stream. Awesome. Well, cool. I have a. Do you think we have time for this listener question real quick?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. So we're gonna answer we got an email from a listener, and I think it was pretty cool. Bill asks, so I'm new to the hobby, and the podcast so far has me super hooked. I'm just looking for a few ideas of games to start my collection. I've listened to hours of the podcast from you guys and from the Dice Tower, and I have assembled a list of about 50 games I want to play. Here's the problem. I have a full-time job and 3 kids to support, and my budget isn't exactly ready to start buying games left and right. So I need to narrow down just like 3 or 4 to feed my craving and get me started. Here's what he's played so far. Ticket to Ride, which he actually owns. Pandemic, which he also owns. And the third game that he actually owns is Bang the Dice game. So he has a couple good good starter not filler games, but games that are like gateway games, and then Bang the Dice game is a good hidden role game. So Bang the Dice game is really cool. He's also played Ethnos, King of Tokyo, Catan, Machikoro, Cult Express, Coup, and the Resistance Avalon. So those are the only games the guy has actually played so far, that Bill has actually played. So if you were going to start out a game collection and the only games you actually own are Ticket to Ride, Pandemic, and Bang the Dice game, what games do you think someone should get to round out that collection? 3 or 4. Preferably not too crazy expensive because, budget and stuff.
All right. I'll.
Don't be like Twilight Imperium because that's just insane.
For a dexterity game, I actually think Goku Ku is probably the best bang for your buck. It's about $15 cheaper than Rhino Hero Super Battle.
Yeah.
I think Rhino Hero Super Battle overall is a better game, but that's also because I'm in love with Rhino Hero. But Goku Ku for $20. It's a great dexterity game, also a great family game. So if you have kids, like I play with my 5-year-old daughter a lot, and my niece and my nephew who are 5 and 8.
We're really big fans of those just like silly, fun dexterity games that you
silly,
can just
fun,
play.
simple.
And
yes.
when people place the different things on the tower, or in Goku Ku, you pull these sticks out of a little can and you're building a nest, and you can make the craziest, insane nests when you're playing this game. And you felt like you guys have built something as you played the game, but then it's been also intense as you're trying to put this wooden giant bird on top of the nest at the very end to try to win. It makes it for an intense game. So it's pretty good.
If you're looking for like a deck builder, like a legendary type game, I'd actually say I think bang for your buck the Hogwarts battle game, because it comes with everything in the game, and like you can build up to it. Like
That's
the
completely
problem with
cooperative.
legendary. Yeah, and it's completely cooperative. And so like as you're playing the game, like you can play with your kids and you can build up to it. Whereas like a game like Legendary, the base game is okay, but you're gonna want those expansions. Where the
base
only
game
expansion
is still pretty good though.
Yeah, but if you were to take out everything that just comes in the base game compared to what you have, it's not that much. And what I like about Hogwarts is
I disagree. You get like a bunch of different masterminds. Hogwarts probably has more hours of game.
Well, and it's actually a story and a campaign. Like you open the different books, where Legendary you can do that yourself, but it's not set up that way.
Yeah, I feel like those games are actually really similar as far as like just the concept of the game. Of course, Hogwarts is a lot newer, so it's gonna have some things like that. If you're a really big fan of the Hogwarts or the Harry Potter IP, definitely check out Hogwarts Battle for cooperative deck building, and also Marvel Legends cooperative. I'm a super huge, but it would be a little bit simpler than Hogwarts when it's all said and done.
I would also say, so if you're looking for like a cheaper, like hidden movement type of game, like Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, like that's fun. It's a good game, but I would actually say Crossfire over it. It is cheaper. It's smaller.
Oh, you mean? I thought you were about to say hidden. I
no,
thought you were about to suggest Spectre Ops.
Spectre Ops. Oh, I was gonna. My last two would be Spectre Ops and Dead of Winter.
Spectre Ops is really good. So Spectre Ops is a hidden movement game. We talked about it on the show. We've had the designer on the show several times. Basically, it is a hidden movement game where one player. This actually works. It works from 2 players, up to 4 or 5 players. When you have 5 players, there's kind of like a little bit of a traitor aspect, which I've heard some different things on it. I actually haven't played, but anywhere from 4 to 2 players, it's an amazing game. And I've actually played it 2 players several times and had a blast. This is a game where one player is the agent, and they're trying to get into a facility and capture different objectives. And then there's other players that are playing the hunters that are trying to find them. But the catch is that the agent's piece isn't even on the board. So they're using a pad of paper and writing down which space they're on. There's like this battleship-like grid as they're moving around the different areas. And the cool thing about Spectre Ops is that there's tons of different powers and different agents you can play as. So you can mix the game up each time you play. And also, it's not just over right when they find you. They can find you, and then they have to actually hit you and knock you down. So you get a chance to run away, and they'll find you a couple times during the game and like suss you out with different abilities that they have. And then you have to figure out how to re-hide yourself, and then maybe you stand still for a few turns. It feels like playing hide and seek in a board game, but it's got this like tense feeling as these guys are hunting you down. I love playing both sides. Like as the hunters, it feels like a great puzzle, and as the agent, it feels like this tense game where you're just trying to hide around every corner. And
It's a great game.
and
Just
then for Hidden Trader game, Rob wants to tell you about Dead of Winter.
I mean, Dead of Winter's it's still just an absolutely amazing game. It really just is. And you don't have to play with a hidden trader if you don't want to. But I think the more you play it, the more you'll want to play with a hidden trader because it just adds that extra little slice of paranoia. But Dead of Winter is a fantastic game where it's semi-cooperative, but it feels like a full co-op, but you can't trust everybody, where you're working together to try to help build the colony to be able to survive the zombie apocalypse during the middle of winter. So, yeah, I mean, and for big box games, to me, it's got to be hands down Mansions of Madness. I know it's an expensive game, but it comes with so much value in that game. I absolutely love the game. It's still my favorite game of all time. But yeah, if you're ever looking to splurge or a birthday or Christmas or something, and with the app that comes with it, just the replay is there, and it's just a solid game. So, and then if you have other money, I mean, I could say so much. Stuff Fables, also depending on the age of your kids. My daughter's loving it, and we're playing it more as a family.
Chat saying Clank in Space and Sign.
So I haven't played Clank in Space yet. Now, Token.
Did you play Clank with us?
I did not. No, that was
Clank
another.
Soon.
Now Takenoko, I have that game. That's the one with the farmer and the panda, right? Yeah, I love that game. I actually played that with other people, and I was like, "This is gonna be great for when my kids get older." And I think my daughter was 1 at the time, so I bought it to hold on for when she gets older.
It's a really good one if you want one that's more in the same sort of filler category as a lot of the games that Bill has played already, because he's played a lot of the Catans and Machikoro and Ticket to Ride. That gives you the same sort of as a good game.
And it's a cute IP for kids. Like it's not too complicated of a game where kids aren't going to be able to understand it or get it. So
awesome. He also says that he loves our content and will be listening often. So we'll see how long it takes for Bill to hear it. Seeing that I didn't answer his email and just read it on the podcast instead.
Bill, we appreciate you, and thank you very much for listening. It means a lot.
Awesome. Well, if anybody else would like to send us questions on the podcast, feel free to hit us up at, you can just email us at epicgamingnight@gmail.com. And maybe we'll be able to answer some questions like this on a more regular basis on the show. That would be really cool. And even if you guys are in chat, if you email us or hit us up whenever, try to add it into the show notes and see if there's more of a long form question that we can discuss a little bit. That'd be really fun. That is epicgamingnight@gmail.com.
Give it a chat.
Just give it a little chat,
Just give it a little chat.
Awesome, guys. Well, this has been a podcast. We stream these Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at youtube.com/Epic Gaming Night. I want to say thanks so much to our amazing patrons. We're going to be getting our copy of, Rob already has a copy of Stuff Fables, but Rob's already played it, so he kind of knows his opinions on it, but I'm going to be getting a copy of Stuff Fables in and playing it with my kids, and then we're going to try to play it, get Matt to play it as well, and then give our thoughts on Stuff Fables and be sending that out to one of our amazing patrons as well after doing a review of it. So that's going to be super exciting. If you want to support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/Epic Gaming Night. And I just want to say thanks so much to our patrons because it really does mean a lot. I was just doing our taxes, which is kind of interesting, and I have to claim that stuff on that as well. So Epic Gaming Night's not super profitable it's not profitable.
Well, we're not profitable at all.
We're not profitable at all. We're going in the hole every time we do stuff. But the thing is, it
doesn't cost as much.
It doesn't cost us nearly as much as it would without you guys helping us out. So it definitely helps what you guys do, and that makes the load easier so that way we can do more stuff and then putting more resources towards Epic Gaming. So it's definitely a blast. Make sure to check out what we're doing over on Instagram at Epic Gaming Night over on Instagram and Twitter. You can always talk to us there. We're always posting pictures of the games we're playing whenever we're playing different things at these conventions, or whether we're just hanging out with people playing games. We're always posting the games that we're playing there. Also, make sure to check out Rob at Writing Newman, because he always needs more followers.
I always need more followers. Thank you very much for saying that. Yes,
and make sure to like all of his posts, because he just needs more likes. Come on.
I just need some friends.
Just give him a little like.
Yeah, I just need some friends. Yeah, and the writing stuff is still happening, and it's coming. I'm excited for 2018 for writing Newman. So we'll see.
Hype.
And
Awesome.
I appreciate Adam for reading all of my stuff, which he never did.
Sarcasm. The shade has been thrown. Awesome,
It
guys.
has.
Thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. You guys are the best.
You are the best. We seriously, we mean it. We would not be doing this if you had not stuck with us. We love you guys.
Hype. Peace.